IU basketball is back. We'll talk about how Yogi Ferrell, James Blackman, Troy Williams, and even the young guys show that they're ready for a big year of IU ball.
Also, Stu Jackson, the IU football beat writer for allhoosiers.com, will join me in studio to talk about the Hoosiers bye week and plenty more. Hoosier Sports Night starts now.
Welcome inside our studio for this week's episode of Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Sam Lieberman alongside Brandon Farkas. And Brandon, the first week of IU basketball season, always a very exciting time for this campus.
Yeah, Sam, it really is. You've still got the IU football team going about their season, but when basketball comes around in Bloomington, there's just nothing like it. The Hoosiers preseason ranked number 15 in the AP poll. You got to go to the game and cover it for us as the Indiana Hoosiers took on Ottawa. They got the win. 82-54 was the final there in Assembly Hall. It was just a preseason game, but what do you think is the biggest takeaway from this one?
A lot of good things the Hoosiers can take away from this game. First off, normal preseason games usually played against a lesser opponent, but University of Ottawa is a very legitimate opponent. The number one team in Canada. They actually beat the Hoosiers last summer in a summer match, and then they played 8 games going into this game. So the Hoosiers, their first time out on the court, kind of still got the rust on, but these guys, very, very smooth team to play against, and the Hoosiers still beat them by 28. So I think beating a tough preseason opponent for the first time out on Assembly Hall court shows a lot about the team and their ability to get out there early on. And on top of that, I really was impressed by the newcomers this game. I really think that Thomas Bryant, the 6'10 freshman, a high recruit, he had a big night. He had a double-double on the night, played great defense, a lot of energy on the court, was getting his team fired up. And then Max Bielfeldt, the transfer from Michigan, he had 6 boards in the first half, finished with 8 points and 8 boards. Good performances by both of them. I was very impressed by these newcomers.
Exactly. And talking about the new faces, let's look at some old faces, a guy that's been here for 3 years. This will be his 4th season with the Hoosiers. You already know who I'm talking about, Sam. Yogi Ferrell. Just talk about how important he is for this team, and I mean, he could potentially even win Big Ten Player of the Year come the end of this season.
Oh, I think that's very possible. Yogi Ferrell, just an unbelievable player throughout his whole career here at IU. Every year, he goes out there and proves he's one of the most elite point guards in college basketball. Didn't light up the stat board on Tuesday night against Ottawa, but you can tell that his leadership is always a presence on the court. After every stoppage in the game, he's bringing his team together, rallying the troops, getting the play together, and doing everything he can to help his team win. So Yogi Ferrell, I really think he's going to have a huge year this year. I think he's going to have a lot of assists, a lot of points like he normally does, and always bring the Hoosiers together.
Yeah, that is very true. Yogi finished with 11 points, 5 rebounds, got 3 assists for the game as well. Carly Murata now has more on Thomas Bryant, the versatility and energy that he brought to Tuesday night's game.
Indiana star recruit Thomas Bryant had quite the debut in Indiana's victory over Ottawa for their first exhibition game of the season. Bryant's energy and ability to adjust on the court were key in the Hoosier victory.
Thomas, I thought he always plays with an incredible energy and incredible heart. He was, showing why, he's so highly regarded out there. He was just, working his butt off and, going on the glass and getting those rebounds and just the second chance points, his ability to, get his own miss is really unique, scary ability that it's really tough to defend.
Just having to make those adjustments inside of the game and not overhelp, and then certain times overhelp and recover. That's invaluable for him because he's going to have to guard numerous people.
Indiana's tough non-conference schedule continues next Monday when they face off against Bellarmine. From Assembly Hall, I'm Carly Murata, IUS TV Sports.
Now moving on, the women's basketball team will tip off its new season on Sunday with an exhibition game against Slippery Rock University. After hosting the practice matchup on Sunday afternoon, the Lady Hoosiers will begin their regular season in Bloomington for the preseason WNIT tournament. The Hoosiers will play host to Tennessee State, an Ohio Valley Conference team that earned an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament last year. The season opener against the Golden Eagles is set to start at noon on November 13th. Now, last week on our show, we mentioned that the IU men's soccer team was just 1 victory away from reaching 700 wins in program history. Well, on Halloween night, the Hoosiers completed that feat by beating the Wisconsin Badgers 1-0 at Jerry Yeagley Field. With the victory over Wisconsin, Indiana becomes the 5th men's soccer program in NCAA Division I history to win 700 games. The Hoosiers are the fastest team to accomplish the milestone. Sports reporter Jock Rozier sat down with Coach Yeagley to discuss the history of men's soccer and what it means to him.
Coach Jerry Yeagley was the Indiana men's soccer head coach in 1973, the first year it became an NCAA varsity program. 42 years later, his son Todd Yeagley continues the tradition.
You're a lot like your father. I mean, that's as big as a compliment as you can get. He's as well respected as there was out there, and his successes we all know about.
Coach Yeagley has seen this program as a son, player, and coach, and he says 3 words come to mind when he thinks of Indiana soccer: family, class, and excellence. He says the 700 win mark caught him by surprise.
I think the same thing you'd ask my dad. I mean, the numbers just kind of creep up on you, and they kind of hit you, and oftentimes it's you know, the media or someone that's really close to the program that is like, hey, you know, you're near this milestone or this number. Knowing of a team, I mean, we never said one thing to our team about it. You can take a step back and reflect. You know, this is unbelievable what Indiana soccer has done compared to their peers.
What has Indiana soccer done at the 700 win mark? 8 National College Cup titles, the second most of any team in the country, 18 College Cup appearances in 39 trips to the postseason, 12 Big Ten tournament titles, an NCAA record 46 games without a loss from September 4th in 1983 to November 9th in 1984. Coach Yeagley says the winning tradition is a direct reflection of the type of player recruited to suit up.
You're going to see a very honest and disciplined approach to the teams that come through here. Ultimately, if our athletes and our players have an unbelievable experience and feel that they have gotten better in every aspect of their development, then no matter what trophy you have in the season, you can say that's a successful season. There's no one bigger than the team. The team first mentality has been a staple in this program since it was started, and that will always remain the same, even though we have some special players.
Jerry Yeagley coached teams to 6 of the 8 national titles that Indiana holds in men's soccer, and Coach Yeagley did so in 2012, making this the first father and son to coach a team to their own national title in men's soccer history.
I see the game as some small differences, but some of the things that we feel are really important to success of the team were both very similar. And that's probably because I've been around it my whole life.
In the 2012 title season, Indiana became the first team to win it all as a 16 seed. In all of his years around the program, Coach Yeagley says one memory that sticks out is from a locker room celebration during the tournament.
To see the team sing the fight song when we beat North Carolina. One of the guys had the flag that I think a parent or friend had, and they had it in the locker room, and that was just like raw emotion in the moment that no one knew there was any cameras around. It was just a group of guys and coaches in the locker room just yelling it. That was cool.
Putting this win in perspective, Indiana hits the 700 win mark in 953 games. That's 9 faster than UCLA, 39 faster than St. Louis, 158 less than Maryland, and 169 less than Virginia, the only other schools to accomplish the feat. For IUS TV Sports,
I think people understand IU soccer is pretty special here.
I'm Jock Rozier.
The team was on the road on Wednesday to close out the regular season at Michigan State. The Hoosiers extended their winning streak to 4 games with a 4-1 victory. Up next is the Big Ten tournament.
The women's soccer season has come to an end. The Hoosiers lost the battle over the Golden Boot to Purdue 2-0 last Wednesday. Sad night for the seniors on their senior night, but they should all be proud of one particular. Senior defenseman Emily Baston was selected the Big Ten Sportsmanship Honoree at the postseason honors on Friday. So congratulations, Emily, and all the girls in the team for another hard-fought season. Indiana football had a bye week this past week, but in the meantime, Brandon Farkas got a chance to sit down with Stu Jackson from allhoosiers.com and get an inside scoop on what's going on with Hoosiers football.
Thanks, Sam. I'm now joined by Stu Jackson, the IU football beat writer for allhoosiers.com. And Stu, the Hoosiers, they started off 4-0 in non-conference play, and since then have gone 0-4 in Big Ten play. Just kind of talk about what you think has gone wrong with this team the past really 3.5 games, if you include the great play they had against Ohio State.
Well, I think what you're seeing is that they're not quite putting together a coercive effort or cohesive effort, if you will, on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. In that 4-game win streak and that stellar non-conference play, you saw a lot of times the defense creating a timely turnover, setting the Hoosier offense up, around the 20-yard line, basically in the red zone, and the offense then converting and scoring, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. So we haven't really seen too much of that. Obviously, against Rutgers, that 25-point lead just evaporated because, the defense kind of got comfortable with that lead, and then, we saw that the offense didn't exactly put too much together in that game because it was, I think, 25 total yards of offense. So, it's been kind of a challenge for them to put together that kind of effort, if you will, where the offense and defense are working hand in hand to kind of make timely plays.
And the Hoosiers had their bye week this past weekend. Now they've got a tough matchup coming against the undefeated Iowa Hawkeyes, just the second time in school history that they are 8-0. So what do you think Coach Wilson really emphasized during this bye week for the team?
Well, I think it was just to mentally regroup. Obviously, there are a lot of guys who, were probably pretty tired and have hit a wall, especially some of the younger players. At least in Indiana right now, it's about, the time for the high school football sectionals and pretty soon here regionals. So, most of these players who a year ago were close to wrapping up their season or had it wrapped up already. And so they, because of that, they're still getting used to, I think, playing that additional month or so. So really I think it was about just, again, mental recuperation and kind of recovery in order to get ready for what should be a really challenging Iowa opponent this Saturday.
Yeah, I know the Hawkeyes have a strong running game led by Jordan Kanzier. Do you think that could be an issue for the Hoosiers here as they get back in Bloomington?
I think it could be. I mean, he's done some great things for the Hawkeyes this year, obviously. His mobility has been a little bit limited due to injury, but he's still a pretty good running back and someone the Hoosiers should be concerned with, especially the front seven of that defense. So, yeah, stopping him is definitely going to be a big part of the outcome of Saturday's game, whether they win or lose.
And just moving past this weekend, obviously, like I mentioned, the Hoosiers got off to that 4-0 start. It looked like they were going to be bowling into the postseason. Do you think that this team has the ability to finish and get 2 more wins and be playing in the postseason?
I think they definitely have 2 more wins in them, certainly based on the remainder of the schedule. Obviously, Iowa is going to be a very challenging game. The week after that, it doesn't get any easier. Their final home game, at least for IU, is against Michigan. And then they have 2 road games at Maryland, and then closing out the season with the bucket game, of course, in Wesley Lafayette against Purdue. So this is definitely a schedule that will feature, I think, a couple wins that are games, I should say, that are easily winnable. But again, I mean, this is a team that has had a 25-point lead in the fourth quarter and has lost it. So at this point, do we really know what a winnable game is for this team? That's hard to say. Certainly, the way Maryland and Purdue have been playing, you would think that those games could be just that for IU. But again, based on what we've seen the last 8 games, you never know.
And Stu actually also covers IU basketball. He'll be covering them this year for allhoosiers.com, so check out his stuff for sure. Got to end it with an IU basketball question with the season just really getting started here. I mean, what do you expect to see from this team, and how far do you think they could go into March, potentially even April?
I think they've got a really great shot at making the NCAA tournament this year. They've got Thomas Bryant, a really heralded recruit out of Huntington Prep in West Virginia, who should really provide them with a solid post presence, something that they were lacking last year. Rob Judson, the assistant coach, and Crean as well, and even associate head coach Tim Buckley, were all praising his game effusively. I mean, over the last couple of weeks, just talking about how great of a passer he is out of the post. And Buckley said that Brian actually reminds him of Cody Zeller with the way he's just able to work in the post and pass out of that. So, but with him and with Yogi Ferrell back, as well as James Blackman Jr. and plenty of other returning starters, this is a team that I think will make a deep run in March.
All right, well, there you heard it again from Stu Jackson. Definitely be sure to check out his stuff on allhoosiers.com. He's the football beat writer for them, and he also covers the basketball team. We'll see whether or not the Hoosiers can win against the Hawkeyes this weekend, and I'm really looking forward to the IU basketball season that's starting. So we'll be back after the break with more Hoosier Sports Night.
And it's an honor to be here.
After suffering a season-ending injury in late March